information seduces. It creates and draws people in. It creates intrigue, it creates interest, and it draws you in. The reason I have a picture here of the Mona Lisa is because when I was doing my research for this book, I came across the notion of sfumato, which is a technique that Leonardo da Vinci created to make his subjects look more lifelike. It means, in Italian, basically smoky. The reason that the Mona Lisa looks so alive, and interestingly enough, that she has a different expression every time you look at her, according to one art historian, is because he purposely made the corners of her mouth ambiguous and hazy and fuzzy. And I had to test this out for myself because I really wasn't getting it from the pictures. I wanted to see the Mona Lisa up close and personal, so I traveled to the Louvre. Sure enough, when you look at her the first time, and if you've ever been to the Louvre, you know that she's very small. You can't get really close, but you can get close enough to get a greater impact than you would out of any book or reproduction. I looked at her once. She seemed to be smiling halfway, normally. I took a spin around the wing, came back, and she looked rather forlorn. I took a third spin, I came back and looked at her, and gosh darn it, she looked like she was mocking me. Probably because I took 3 spins around the same wing. But the notion of limiting information draws your audience in, draws your user in, and engages their intellect and their intelligence in creating the solution that's more powerful than anything that you could come up with, quite honestly. And that's the power of that letter E exercise. It's what the Sopranos is all about. It's what Sudoku is all about. Is there a practical application to this? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you remember when the iPhone came out? January 2007, Steve Jobs stands up at the Macworld conference and demonstrates this weird smartphone that has something that's been subtracted from it, something big. What was it? The physical keyboard, right? And everyone was sort of aghast at that. Even Walt Mossberg, the Wall Street Journal personal technology columnist, really took Steve to task on that, saying, how could you not have what every telephone in the world has, which is a physical keyboard? Well, if you know Steve Jobs, you know that he hates buttons. There's only one button on the thing. He hates buttons. He always wears a mock turtleneck. He hates buttons on computer mice. He hates buttons in elevators. He has a complete allergic reaction to buttons. He hated his cell phone. But the most interesting thing about what was missing from the iPhone was not the physical qualities, not the gadget and the gizmo qualities. It was the marketing strategy used to hype the iPhone. This was the most hyped product, thought to be the most hyped product to come along in an awful long time. As a matter of fact, one op-ed I read called it the Jesus phone. But if you go back and look, because to hype something means to push it, right? To have big promotions, big publicity, give out prototypes to the columnists. Guess what they did? Between January and June, till just before the launch when it was on sale, guess what Apple did? Nothing. I challenge you to go back and find that hype, that push. It wasn't there. They did nothing. He showed it once, and they stood back, and they let the Apple loyalists fill in the gaps just like you do in a Sudoku puzzle. The blogosphere got lit up. Everyone started speculating on what this thing was all about. By the time it went on sale in June, the iPhone had already tipped. 20 million people had expressed a desire for it.